coming to the zone here. 10 back. 5. Green, green, green.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Hot Lap, your home for everything iNRS. I'm Clark Franz, driver of the number 15 Chevrolet Camaro.
I'm Vernon Brabeck, driver of the number 10 Roadrunner Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro.
Corey Bunch, number 21 MT. Oh wait, never mind. This is not college football. This is NASCAR. Number 77 Benjamin Moore Ford Mustang Full Throttle Motorsports. Yeah, that's it.
This week we do not have Tony along with us. He can't make it tonight, but we do have a special guest, one of the founders and admins of the league, Scott Thomas, driver of the number 79 car. How are you, Scott?
I am good. I am happy to be here.
We're happy to have you too.
Before we get started, I'd like to thank Michael Whitley for these pre-race reviews that he gives us every week. He has great facts on here and gives us plenty of talking points, and along with the broadcast talking points.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Whitley helps us out a lot, as well as gives the whole league stuff to talk about each week. Those talking points are awesome. And then you mentioned it, the broadcasting. IWM Broadcast Network, Rick Souza and the guys he has there, they've been awesome. They give us stuff to talk about. We wouldn't be successful doing this if it weren't for him also putting stuff up on YouTube for people to watch and tune into. So we really appreciate that. So Scott, since you're with us, you were here when this league first started, along with Josh Douglas. It would be dumb of us to not first dive into how this league all came together. So first question I got for you is could you give us a rundown of how iNRS started?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I actually want to go backwards a little bit there and back to the Whitley thing. And a lot of people don't realize this, but man, Whitley does so much for the league. You're right. He definitely, deserves a lot of kudos. And let me tell you, I used to have to do all the points. Sim Racer Hub is the most awesome program ever, but sometimes it is the most frustrating program ever. So kudos to freaking Whitley, man, because let me tell you, without him, I would have to do it. So thank you, Whitley.
Yeah, man, we all completely agree. Thank you, Michael. So was he along with you when this all got started?
No, he actually he joined a little later. He joined during the off season, and the off season we actually run late models, and we have a really good time doing that. It's awesome. But I tell you, Josh and I, of course, we joined iRacing in 2020, and a couple years after that, in 22, Josh said, "Hey, you know what? Let's go league racing." I didn't know much about it, but he picked a league, and it was called Way She Goes Racing League. I think you guys know a little something about it, right?
Me and Vernon do. It was not quite as organized as this one, to say the least.
I ran one race in that league and then ended up with you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, the organization there wasn't great, so we learned a lot of what not to do. I mean, we started in 2022, and now we're on the third season, and I mean, this, definitely season 3 has been the best, by far. And then of course Josh adding, trucks and Xfinity, and I mean, it's been a big hit. We've got 80 members now, so I mean, it's, we're looking forward to season 4 for sure.
Yeah, me and Vernon have been there since race 1. And who won that race? I forget. Does anybody know?
That was you.
Oh, I forgot. Thank you. I appreciate that. But even with starting off this league fresh with a win, I can say wholeheartedly, no shame. This league has outgrown my skill level, but I still love being a middle of the pack type racer. Maybe be able to sneak out a win here or there. But how do you feel about the growth of the league so far?
Yeah, I mean, we've picked up some really good guys over the last couple of seasons, and Jordan Booth obviously is, he's up at the top of the charts, and his teammate as well, Brennan. And there's some other guys. There's so many. My memory is terrible, and I can remember these guys when I'm racing, beside them, and they're passing me, and it's hard to remember some of their names. But man, there's some great drivers in here, and I look forward to picking up some more, great drivers going forward. Like I said, season 4, we're really looking forward to it. We're already working, and it takes a lot of work to keep the league going. A lot of people don't realize how much work it takes. But and a great example of that is Josh. Without him, I mean, he's doing race control. I mean, he dropped out of racing. He loves racing. and he dropped out to do race control just to make the league, better. So I mean, we're dedicated. We're here.
We can tell the proof is in the product, and we appreciate you all for that. It speaks volumes to the way the league is going. It's heading in the right direction. So it really speaks for the work you're putting in. Now, you've got it broadcasted. You've got a huge field in the races. I mean, it's successful enough that you've got a podcast that actually has people that listen to it. So we're thankful for your successful league. But you've got all these great things going for you. So as you're looking towards the future, are there any future plans or goals that you have?
Well, I mean, this year, Josh implemented, the big purse for, the big races. So that, that's the biggest thing is we're trying to, just give more. We would love to be able to give, every race winner a little trophy of some sort. That goes a long way. So there's a lot of things in the works. Like I mentioned earlier, our first season, we had a lot of guys join during the off season because we had the late model program. So, this kind of let the cat out of the bag, but this off season, we're going to go back to the late models and do a little, short track stint. And it's going to be a whole lot of fun, man. Just, get out there and have fun and not really have to worry about points and just, put it all out there.
Nice, man. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can talk my wife into letting me race during the off season. Usually she likes having me on Thursday nights, but maybe I can sweet talk her into that. Hey, so the second topic we're going to cover is also for you here, Scott. We're going to start a new segment for guests. It's going to be called Fast Facts. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to give you some answers right off the top of your head, okay?
Copy.
Question number 1, starting off easy. Where are you from?
I am from a little town called King, North Carolina, right outside of Winston-Salem. We're about 45 minutes from North Wilkesboro and about 45 minutes from Martinsville.
Right in the heart of stock car racing. Have you been there your whole life?
Yes, I have. Absolutely. And I've been I know we had a little chat going in Discord, I think last week or maybe this week talking about, actually, I think it was last week at Pocono. Talking about what races have you been to and your favorite drivers won. Man, I've been to so many Martinsville races and watched Dad blame Jeff Gordon or freaking Jimmy Johnson win. So, thankful that I don't have to watch them win anymore up there. But yeah, we typically go to every Martinsville race. Love it.
Now tell us about your family a little bit.
I've got 4 children. My oldest son, he's 24 and still lives around here. My oldest daughter, she actually lives in Hawaii, so she moved there right after she graduated and loves it. It's paradise. Front yard's, the ocean, the backyard's mountains. So I live right right on a mountain. But the other 2 kids, my 18-year-old daughter just graduated high school. Then, of course, I got Isaac. He's a rising junior. Of course, my loving wife, Kelly, and I work for Vanguard Auto Group, which is who sponsors my cars, and, been there for 14 years. I'm a used car manager. So, I love cars, love racing, was a huge VW fan. So I've been a racing fan for a super long time.
Awesome, man. Sounds like you have a beautiful family. How'd you get into sim racing?
Well, just like majority of everybody else, we started, NASCAR Heat and, Xbox, and of course 2020 COVID and, iRacing was the biggest thing, since sliced bread. So it was okay. Well, let's try it, and of course never look back. Love it. Not the greatest, but hey, I love doing it. It's really, a lot of fun. It takes a lot of skill. And tell you what, I sit back here and I'm surprised I don't lose a lot of weight because man, sit back here on this thing and sweat.
Did anybody else get into iRacing during COVID as well? Because I did, and wow, that was a mistake. Not getting into iRacing, but the timing, because everything was so overpriced because NASCAR started racing on iRacing, and I had to pay $600 for a freaking Logitech wheel.
Yes, I did as well. Luckily, I used my brother's steering wheel, so I didn't have to buy one until after the prices came down. So I got away with one there.
I've been on iRacing since like 2014, so I'm way early into it. But it wasn't really much of NASCAR. It was or stock car racing. It was more just the LMP2s and just the road stuff. Is I really kind of done on iRacing when I first started.
I didn't know you were into other forms of racing there. I'm going to have to dive deeper into that at some point.
Yeah, back in my day, Back in 2021, I was where you had your pro and your pro-am, and I was a pro-am champion in the LMP2 competition in the league a while back. So that's one thing I still have a trophy in my house to this day. So I get to just remind myself that, hey, you can race both oval and road. Just remember that. So
Dig deep into that back pocket and bring out those skills. Might need him versus Jordan Winslow this week. So Scott, how would you rate your season on a scale from 1 to 10?
Oh man, this season definitely it's been a tough season for me. I'll be honest. I feel like the other two series, me running those, I felt like would help me. But to be honest, I think, and that's another reason why I stopped racing Xfinity. Just the difference in the vehicles. You know, in the past, I mean, I would, you know, Monday, Tuesday, and sometimes Wednesday, you know, race official races just to get ready for the Thursday night race. So, you know, this year I haven't been able to do as much practicing, you know, in the Cup car. And you know, I'm not the greatest driver either. I've got great equipment. You know, I'm like you know, equipment wise, I'm a Hendrick. You know what I'm saying? But driver wise, I'm freaking Cody Ware. So you know, it's you can't always put a bad driver in good equipment and they be good. I'm a perfect example of that. But you know, rating, man, I mean, I'll probably give it like a five or a six. There's definitely a lot of room, you know, for improvement. Just you know, just need to put more track time down.
You unknowingly answered my next question I was about to ask. I was going to say, which Cup Series driver do you think you're most synonymous to? You sticking with Cody Ware? Because I don't put you with Cody Ware. I'd say you're more of a putting myself on the spot here. I'd say you're more of a like a Gregson or a Barry, where you have the chance to be up in the top 10. I just don't think that you've, like you're alluding to, kind of similar to me, you haven't had the practice this year to give the success you've had before.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. Maybe a little more like a Corey LaJoy too. You know, every once in a while I've had a chance to win and kind of you know threw it away. But hey, I've won one race. I'm there. Well, actually, I think you've won race. You've won what, two races in the league in the past. I won one, even though three other guys ahead of me ran out of fuel on the last lap. Hey, it was still a checkered flag, and I'm proud to have it.
A win is a win is a win. I already know the answer to this question, but for the listeners, who do you root for in the Cup Series?
I'm a Chase Elliott fan. You know, a lot of people, will call me a bandwagon guy, but man, I tell you what, like I said, I was a DW fan forever, and then after DW hung it up, I was anybody but Earnhardt for years and years and years. And you know, when Ryan Newman and Jimmy Johnson first started, both of them guys fighting for Rookie of the Year, I was like, man, you know what? I'm not a Hendrick fan, but I like this kid, you know, Ryan Newman. So I pulled for Newman until he, you know, hung it up and love Newman. I've got a bunch of stuff on my wall, some autograph stuff. I used to be a member of his official fan club back in 2005. So I was a Newman fan forever, and finally, you know, after he retired, I said, you know what, let me go for the Elliott guy. My dad was a big Bill Elliott fan, so you know, started pulling for Chase, and then the next year he, you know, won the championship, so that was a good pick.
I'm an HMS fan, so you don't have to sell me on that either. Now, last question for you. If you aren't racing or watching racing, what other hobby would you be doing?
Well, being in the car business, I don't get a whole lot of downtime, so that's one thing. You know, the reason why iRacing works so well is, you know, we do it at night. But when I've got some spare time in, I like to hit that little white ball. I'm a 6 handicap. I love playing golf, and you know, pretty good at it, even though I don't get to play as much. But you know, I hadn't played in, man, probably haven't played in 4 or 5 months, and went and played 2 months ago, and you know, shot 3 over after not playing for like 6 months. So it was a good, you know, it was a good round. Really nice to get out there and watch that ball soar, man. I love some golf, and you know, I love spending time with my family. Um, like I say, having a big family, you know, we live on a farm, so we like to get out and ride on the golf cart and, you know, see the deer and, you know, holler at the cows, you know, stuff like that.
I didn't know you were a big golfer. We're going to have an iNRS golf outing. Vernon's going to be a front runner there, too. What's your handicap, Vernon?
Not that low. Holy. I even went to college for that stuff, and it's not that low. God dang. I probably shoot anywhere from 80 to 80, 88.
I'll be finishing just like I do in iRacing, near the back. All right, let's head into our next topic. Break down the race at Indy. Vernon, this first one's going to go to you. How would you rate your performance in the race?
First portion of the race, pretty poor. Back portion of the race, it was about as good as it can go without winning.
Now, you took 2 there at the end of the stage, be able to jump some of the field. How much would you say tire wear was a factor?
Well, I took rights at the pit stop before the stage, got into my wreck, took lefts just to even it out, and then I was like, well, I need track position because you can't pass, and I'm sitting in 17th. I took rights at the stage, and then we went on a decent green flag run. I didn't feel like the tires were, especially left sides, were important really at all. Like I think I restarted second, and I was to the lead within like 3 or 4 laps, and I held the lead until I made a mistake and got tight on corner exit. But lap times, it didn't really feel like there was any difference. Car didn't feel like there was a whole lot of difference. So right side tires was a phenomenal call, and then we were able to do right sides again at the end of the race.
Corey, how hard was it to pass out there? It looked hard on the broadcast. I didn't get to catch the race it myself because of vacation, but I did watch it. It looked pretty hard to pass out there.
It was awful, just absolutely awful. It's like it's kind of like if you're side by side with somebody and you go on the inside while you got somebody on your outside, the car just absolutely just plows, and you have to give it up, otherwise you're going to spin the guy on the outside. So it was terrible, and the only way you could really pass is on the outside, or you just had to wait for that guy to make a mistake and then just pass him on the straight then. But it was awful. But I couldn't help but to laugh in the background a little bit, because when Vernon said he got before his wreck, I'm thinking to myself, oh, that part where he just murdered the 72.
A little bit of a controversial incident. What happened there, Vernon?
I knew this was coming. Well, it was hard to pass, so I was able to get to Jonathan's inside, and the only way I was going to complete that pass, and this was on corner exit of 4, was to side draft the living heck out of him, and I did just that. I ain't gonna lie, I pinched him up towards the wall. I didn't actually make contact with him. When I went down pit road to get left side tires and fix any damage that I had, I watched the replay to my vantage point, and from what I saw, I didn't move off my line. Now, did he have a lot of room to move? No. Like, if he moved any bit left, he was going to go into the inside wall off of my nose, and I think there was just a slight movement, and he went into the inside wall off my nose. Kind of ended his night. I felt terrible about that. I ended up messaging after the race and apologized for that. But yeah, I mean, there's only one way to pass, and if you're on the inside, if you're not side drafting the heck out of him to get side by side with him, the car behind him is just going to push him right by you, and then you're going to lose 3-4 spots.
You should have just heard my team's chat, because I know when that happened, we was thinking, oh God, because I was trying to hit the button like wreck it in the front, and Whitley just started laughing. He's like, Corey panicked so bad. I was like, yeah, because I was thinking when the 72, when he just killed that inside wall, he was going to come back up the track and collect more people, and I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. This is it. So, it's rough.
Ended up actually surprisingly having no damage from that wreck. I had damage from it earlier.
I'm shocked by that.
Smacked down with the wall I had. I absolutely destroyed the wall in one of the corners. Yeah, I had 24 seconds of damage off of that, and when I went down pit road, I was like, well, somehow, some way, the little bit of contact I had with the inside wall and Jonathan, I was already, as soon as we made contact, I was on the brakes. I was off the throttle. I was in the brake. I was off of him. But there was no saving him. He was done for. The minute he got any bit of sideways, that car was unsavable. And he just, I mean, destroyed that wall. I made one little bit of contact with him, and that was it. Because I was off the throttle, and I had to kind of follow him down into the wall as well to make sure that I didn't get in a wreck with the guys behind me because I was so far off pace, and to just avoid any bigger incident and destroy my car, which sounds selfish as can be because I went on to finish second and Jonathan finished last.
Yeah, he was on the flatbed there, but I'm kind of surprised that I don't think anyone else got caught up in it. It was just you two, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was just us two.
Yeah. See, that's amazing.
It was like 100% Jonathan and not me. Damage wise.
Yeah,
wrecking wise, it was all Jonathan. My car was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that nobody else got caught up in that because
he did a great job of keeping it on the wall.
Yeah, because usually when that happens, typically how Indianapolis goes is that if you kill that inside wall, you're shooting back to the other side and collecting more people, and that's what I thought was going to happen. But
yeah, he bounced off the wall, and I guess he has got some magic brake or something like that, and the car just stopped. it didn't roll. Like, I'm sitting here watching it, I'm like, boom, wall, front bumper through my car. Okay, he's gonna go back up in traffic. I'm about to die. Nope, car just sits there, and I started rolling back around him. I'm like, oh my lord! And then I got the EOL, which I mean, I didn't feel I fully deserved, but I wasn't gonna argue it. It is what it is. I went to the back of the field. I missed out on stage points, but I ended up with again second place.
I'm a little biased. Probably you're my teammate, been friends with you for a long time, but I don't think it deserved an EOL. But we talked about this before we started recording a little bit. It's more realistic having a real race control making these decisions. It's the same as NASCAR. It's you're taking it out of a computer's hands where they throw terrible cautions sometimes or refuse to throw a caution. You're putting in a real life person who's making the best decisions that they can. And I like it. It gives us stuff to talk about here. And yeah, it sucks for you, Vernon.
I mean,
points, but
I'm gonna say right now, the iRacing model's a little messed up. I shouldn't have gone back to third or wherever I think I got cycled back to because I was in the wreck. I should have cycled through to wherever I started hitting matching speed with the other cars, which at that time probably would have been the end. And I went down pit road too, which I mean, I had to fix the damage that I had prior, and I wanted to put left sides back on the car. I was like, I've already put myself in this spot. Just go ahead and fix everything. And I think I gained 5 spots from the restart to the end of the stage. It was almost impossible. I know I passed Scott, and I passed him on the inside. That was just literally driving in as far as I can, and then slamming on the brakes while he tries to cross me over. And then I passed a couple other guys on the outside. I was able to power into the corner on the outside of them and pass them. But other than that, you get stuck behind somebody, you're pretty much stuck there for the rest of the race.
Now, Scott, Vernon says he doesn't think tire wear was much of a factor, but you stayed out for a fuel run. What was your thoughts on that tire wear?
Well, I think the tires definitely wore. I mean, obviously, he'd mentioned they went in, majority of everybody went in and got, a lot of them got 2 tires, but a lot of them got 4. I mean, I think I ran, what did we run? 14 laps or so. I think I was,
we ran, I think it was like 11 or 12.
Okay. So yeah, counting the caution laps then. So those don't really, so, 11 or 12, something like that. I mean, and I was the control car, had saved enough fuel to make it to the end. And I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, you know what, if I can just stay out of the way here and let these guys get going and just blend in, I'm going to have a top 10. And man, I'm going to tell you what, I mean, I got past like I was sitting still. I mean, and then almost took Vernon out too. I'm, going into the corner and I'm like, oh no, oh my God. And I'm pushing up and thank God we just barely touched. And, Vernon's a great driver and he kept on going. And like I said, I feel like that little bitty bobble there may have even cost him the win, so, but, I mean, I was in the back majority of the race and, hey, like they say in NASCAR, if you do the same thing everybody else is doing, then you've made your bed. So I was just trying to do something different. If we would have stayed green there, I was about one lap, short. I'd saved enough fuel, to get it just to the one lap. So maybe I could have saved enough to, manage. I think I was running third there before the caution come out, and the two guys ahead of me pit. But just trying to do something different. I snuck in, like I said before, on a fuel mileage race and won one. So just trying to do it again. But the caution fairy got me, and I wound up finishing 19th on those old tires, and that's not what I need.
I will say that caution saved me because Jordan was going to walk away with that race. He still ended up winning, but that caution come out and you were control car. Jordan drove around you turn one. I think I got you in turn two, and then from there it was a 2-car race. I finished less than 1/10 of a second behind Jordan, and we had a 2.1 gap to third, I think. So, right, I didn't think tires were as important because I know some of those guys probably took 4 tires, and me and Jordan were on 2, and we pulled away from everybody.
Even though the strategy call didn't pan out, Scott, I like it because if you're not going to win off speed, the only other way to win is strategy. So you got to take that leap there.
Absolutely, man.
So this week only 6 natural cautions, so a little bit better, but it's also a bigger track. Do you think that's a bit high for Brickyard? Or do you think we're on par with this EOL system starting to work its kinks out?
No, I mean, I think it's working out, and I think one of the biggest things that has changed the aggressiveness is taking away the fast repair. I think everybody has kind of I mean, you're going to have the fast guys that know how to be aggressive, and they're not going to wreck when they make an aggressive move, but somebody like myself or somebody back in the pack as some of the guys in the Cup Series call us squirrels. I don't feel like I'm a squirrel, but that's what we're called sometimes. Sometimes we make an aggressive maneuver, and we might lose it, and then in the process of losing it, maybe we take somebody out. So not having a fast repair, it makes you think twice about. It's like, oh, you know what? Do I make this aggressive move for 21st or for 18th or for 13th, or do I continue racing and hey, maybe I can get a top 10 or be off strategy and hey, get a win or get a top 5, So, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, the penalty point system, I think it worked well in certain situations, but taking it away, I think, has definitely helped for sure.
Now, Corey, were the tempers flaring because of these cautions this week in the race chat?
I don't know. I'm not that I recall. I mean, I guess like if you had like cautions that were caution precautions like over and over and over, but I know the one caution that did kind of get us all fired up was the caution that during pit stops, and this is probably what screwed me because I feel like I was in a good position to be able to pit early than Booth and I think somebody else too.
Me.
And then then once by the time I get out of pit road and get going, then the caution's out, and I'm like, well, what the heck? And then once you look back, it was the 13 that spun out coming out of pit road, and that caused that caution. And I'm like, they threw a caution for that? And Whitley was like, oh, that saves us. We're good. And then we realized that Booth and them was in pit road, and they got a free pit stop, and he's able to keep the lead. And I'm like, well, that sucks. So
was that last caution an iRacing caution?
Yes.
yeah.
I was wondering because they showed the replay and he was way off the racing surface. That's pretty wild.
I think that's why they threw it, is because he started on the road course portion of it.
I have noticed even during the race, of course, Josh being race control, you can zoom out pretty far, but on a 2.5 mile track, it's still, you can't see the whole group. You know what I'm saying? I race controlled Wednesday night for Xfinity, and just you have to pay attention to what's going on, and if there's a couple people that are racing pretty hard, then you kind of watch them to see if something happens. But it's hard to see every incident being race control, and iRacing has definitely they have not been consistent. There was a wreck that happened during our race. I don't remember which one it was, but I saw them crashing in front of me.
Parasini.
Yeah, there were cars going everywhere, and the caution still wasn't out. And I had to reach over and hit the caution button for it to come out because I'm heading into it. And I'm like, oh my god, And so I mean, iRacing is for some reason just not very consistent at the moment. You're right.
Yeah, Corey, I will say that caution coming out definitely kind of threw you guys for a bad loop because I got on the pit road. I think I got on pit road better than Jordan did, and all of a sudden, like we're halfway down pit road, and here comes the caution. I'm like, oh my god, this could be terrible. And then we cycle through to the front, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I made out on this because I was behind you and Murphy when you guys pitted, and now I've cycled to in front of you guys.
Well, see, I had to do an audible with it because I was running like with Booth and Murphy and all of them because I think I was running third at that point, and then you had Garrett. I think he pit. He was one of the first ones to pit, and then he blended in between Booth and Murphy, and I'm thinking, oh no, I was like, so this is going to be bad, and Garrett's going to be in the way, which I know he wasn't trying to be in the way, but he was in the way. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I'll just go ahead and call an audible, just pit here. And that's when, I think it was at the beginning of turn 4, I called my pit. Murphy just had enough time to be able to, be ahead of me, be in front of me he pit as well. And I'm thinking, okay, this is fine. This will work. Could probably
I was right behind you guys.
And I was thinking that we would have gained some time on Booth because because at that point Booth had to pit a lap later, otherwise he would have had the same mistake that he did at Nashville. And
you called it out going into 4, and by that time Booth was already out of 4, and there was no way in any universe he was going to be able to get that car wound down and onto pit road.
I did that on purpose.
I was close to following you in. And looking back at it, I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Who had a heck of a day was Ty Bostic. Jumped Tony and put himself into the playoff picture.
Who called that one? I did. We were talking about playoffs. I want to say it was the Nashville race, and I was like, Ty Bostic could be the one who jumps himself into a playoffs with the way he's been racing, and here we are.
Playoff.
Yeah, we talking about playoff.
P2 stage finish and a P4 overall finish. Jumped Tony. Actually put Tony 10 points back from him, and then Vince 11 points back from him. Vince also with a really strong showing.
Yeah, 6th place for him. He ran well all day.
I said it earlier in this podcast series. Vince is one of those guys. He's not a flashy driver, but he's just consistent. He's always up there. It's just a matter of stringing some good races together, and that's what he's been doing here recently. As we look forward to Chicago, last topic here today. If you're going to pick someone to win this race, not named Jordan Wenzel, who's going to beat Corey?
Are you sure I can't say Jordan Wenzel?
You can, but then I'm going to ask you to say somebody else.
Ah, man. All right. So anyone that's not Jordan Wenzel, I'll have to take the next best person. That'd be Alex Murphy.
Vernon, if you can't pick Wenzel, who are you taking?
He stole the words right out of my mouth. Go back to last year. It was Wenzel by a mile, and then Murphy, and then Brogdon, who's of course not here right now. So yeah, and it wasn't even close in that race. It was a 22-second gap. Jordan just flat out was better than everybody.
God, in a hypothetical world, Jordan Wenzel's internet cuts out lap 5. Who's winning?
Well, I mean, definitely, Wenzel is really good, on the road courses, and Murphy, obviously, he's really good. But, I'm going to go out there on a limb, and, my man just talked about it earlier. He's run a lot of, road courses, and so I'm going to pick Corey, man. I here's the thing everybody's got to remember. We don't have a fast repair. It took me my first night of practicing. It took me 4 times before I finally made a full lap. And, on another note, I have a question. Did anybody notice that it seems like the straight stretches are shorter? Did they rescan it? And I swear it seems like they're shorter. Am I right?
They're
Am I
the
wrong?
same. The gear ratios are different.
I guess that makes sense. But Corey, as long as you stay off the walls, you know what?
No promises.
I think you can do it, man. I think you got it.
We ran
no promises, but we'll see what we can do.
we ran a little practice race tonight with a couple of the guys, and let's just say it didn't go well for anybody, including myself. Jordan gave me like a 19-second lead by accident, and in about 20 minutes, he drove me down and passed me.
Ooh.
Yeah, he was running about 2 seconds a lap faster than I was, and I was hitting walls here, there, and everywhere. I did
my
not
goal
have
is-
a good go around.
My goal is just to not take anybody out, especially on the start
Turn
of the
one.
race. Turn one.
I'm
remember
gonna
that.
I'm gonna go ahead and say this now. If I'm ahead of Wenzel, and it's in the closing laps, just because I'm friends with him, I'm blocking that motherfucker to no end.
Hey, if you look at history, Corey, road courses this year are the best for you. Average start 2.5, average finish 2.5.
Yeah, and it's behind Wenzel of all people. So now I did get him. I think it was when we ran Xfinity at Coda. I was able to get him on that, but any other time, it's just he just I don't know how he's. I don't know if he's driving it so hard in the Cup car or he's not driving it so hard in the Cup car or what it is, but
He's just
it's
fast.
something. It's just something that I can't really adapt. Like trying to learn from my LMP2 skills or GT3 or it's just kind of hard for me to try to take those skills and put it in the Cup car. It's more of like I got to run like the V8 supercars to even try to get a kind of a knowledge of how it's supposed to act, and especially with it being a street course. Now, I have done a lot of road course racing and have won a lot of road course racing, but street racing is not one of those things. So I hate them.
I've never ran it, and I haven't even practiced it, so I better get on it.
Good
So,
luck.
couldn't even tell you the keys to the race, but I can ask you guys since I'm interviewing you here. Before we head to the next question, if I had to pick somebody other than Wenzel, Corey, I'm going with you. You're claiming like Wenzel's going to blow you out of the water. I don't see that being the case, but I guess we'll find out in 2 days.
Well, it just all depends on how the race room how it is, and we'll just see how it goes from there.
Now, should this race even be at the street course, and I'm talking about in real life, which then translate to us following their schedule, do you think it should be here or Chicagoland?
Well, most people will know what I'll say. For the simple fact that I hate street course racing, Chicagoland.
I just like this car combo on iRacing at Chicago Street Course is just it's bad. It's you miss any type of braking zone, you get a little too much brake input, and the thing's just locked, and there's nowhere to go. You have zero runoff. Like Sonoma, I thought was a phenomenal race outside of the fact that Jordan Wenzel, Corey, and I think it was Murphy drove away from everybody, and Corey and Murphy, Jordan drove away from them. I'm sitting in fourth, 20 seconds back of those two, 20 seconds ahead of the guys behind me. And I thought that was some of the best racing out there because you got Clark, Jordan Booth, Jacob Musau, and Michael Whitley all battling for fifth. And the last lap was just nuts. Jacob sends Clark into Whitley. Whitley's all blowing up on Clark, and Jacob's like, "You need to be complaining to me, not Clark. I was the one who sent him." Now Clark make a little late of a block, maybe, but Jacob just full set Clark. Like there's no doubt about it. But that course has runoff. Like that, people aren't going to get trashed at that. People aren't going to get trashed at that course.
Try telling Whitley that Sonoma has runoff because I think Whitley would disagree.
The street course has no runoff. You make one little mistake and you're in the wall. And the tire barriers, that's concrete. That's not a tire barrier. Don't be fooled.
Man, I wish I could have Sonoma back. I was in 5th place and Brendan Hayes spun right in front of me. gave me wheel damage. This is pre-EOL days, so I went into the pits
Still had fast
during
repair
green
then, too.
flag. Yeah, so I had a fast repair on the green flag, came out, and I was like 49 seconds or something behind the leaders. And I came all the way back and still finished 5th. So I would like to think that incident with Whitley would not have happened had I not got the damage, but you never know. So you alluded to it. It's a narrow course. Other than not pulling a Tyler Reddick and clipping a wall, any other strategies you're thinking, or you're going to have to think about here as we go towards Chicago? Or are you going to try to run the race backwards when it comes to pit stops, or what are you going to do, Corey?
Keep it off the wall. Don't take tires. Don't even. Better yet, if we have enough cautions, don't even bother taking fuel. I mean, because this might be either very good or very bad. I mean, you just never know.
Scott, how are you feeling about the street course race?
Man, I am, I'm not afraid to admit it. I am not a good, road racer, street racer. But, I will admit this. When you get in a rhythm at Chicago street course, it can be fun. I feel like, the last race last year, I was really not looking forward to it. I practiced a lot. And, during the race, I mean, I had fun. At the end of it, I thought, you know what? I enjoyed this a lot better than a road course. But then getting back on, into last week, practicing, I realized like, oh my God, this is horrible, you know. And maybe that's, a strong word, but just like Vernon just said, the biggest thing is you've got to keep your nose clean. When you're going, if you overrun a corner, like you said, it's not a soft wall, it's not a tire barrier. Those guys were bouncing off the tire barriers and continuing. No, it's like a concrete wall. When you hit it, your car is destroyed, and you don't even know which way you're gonna go. Trust me, I hit all of them. So that's my goal is, stay clean and just try to finish the race.
You mentioned tire barriers and the guys bouncing off them in real life. You bounce off of it. Don't get me wrong. You will bounce off that tire barrier. You will just be destroyed.
I like road courses. I haven't done the Chicago street course, but there's something satisfying about like really hitting your marks on a road course versus an oval. It's nice hitting your marks on an oval, but you're hitting the same marks again and again and again in pretty rapid succession. But when you have like a 12, 14 turn road course and you're really just acing your lap, something about it, it's just it's a nice little dopamine rush. Scott, are you a purist who thinks Chicagoland should still be there, or are you liking the product that they put on over the 4th of July weekend in Chicago?
Well, I mean, I like mile and a halves. I love short tracks. Short track. I wish they would bring more of them. I love the short track. Feel like I'm, on a better, playing field on the short tracks. I'm not a huge fan of, I call them restrictor plate tracks, but super speedways. That's the races that I've had the most success at this year are those two type of tracks. It puts me on a level playing field. I mean, it really does. So, mile and a halves are, probably third on my list. So would I like a mile and a half over street course? Absolutely. But, NASCAR Racing Series, we follow the Cup schedule. So if it's at Chicago or if it's in Toronto or if it's in Mexico, that's where we're going to be.
If you could replace one race on the schedule with another, what race would you be taking out? What would you be putting in?
Oh my gosh. Most definitely would take out Coda. I despise Coda. I despise Coda. And probably put another short track, go to like put freaking IRP, man, or something, just something crazy, some good short track. I love short tracks.
I think I'd be taking out the Roval. I'd probably put Eldora in. I liked the dirt track racing with these cars. I'm more so watching it on TV than on iRacing because I'm terrible at dirt track racing. But I'd like to see him race at an actual dirt track.
Not Bristol dirt. No, that gives me trauma. No, not that. No.
Yeah, no. If I'm taking out a track, I'm taking out the Chicago street course and I'm putting Road America back in.
Yes. Oh man.
Give me Road America, please.
Yes. I freaking love that track, man. I'm glad you said that.
I mean, real life, I thought they had phenomenal racing. Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick, the first year the next gen cars were there. They put on a great show, and then we ditched that to go to Chicago Street Course, which, I mean, you know, you got to try things, but we're coming up on year 3. Well, after year 3, let's go back to Road America.
They're going back to Chicago. There's no way they don't. It's
I-
just a 3-year deal, and the mayor
I
talked
know.
about how he loved it. I bet you NASCAR has to pay to be there. Like, they're not making money on that, but I think what they're hoping for is make
new
money in the
crowd.
long run. Yeah, gain a new crowd. But that's all we have time for today, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really liked your perspective on things. Thanks for talking about the league, how it all got started. We appreciate what you, Josh, Whitley, are doing for this league. You're heading in the right direction, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Hey, I really appreciate the invite. You know, definitely want to give a shout out to Admin Box. Of course, IWM, you know, those guys do a lot for us. Ace HTI, Van York Auto Group, those are our key sponsors. So appreciate all those guys. And hey, appreciate you guys putting this together to, you know, try to grab some more ears for iNRS.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It wouldn't be possible without you guys putting in the work at the tip of the spear to actually have the league. Thank you, as always, to the fans, everybody that tunes in, especially this one. It's going to be a long one, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about. Thanks for tuning in. Just a reminder, there is no broadcast this week since the road course. So if you want to catch up on what happened in the race, this is your home for it. Please tune back in next week. It should be a good one. Peace out.